I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
All right, it is that time. We're finally here, the very last episode of The Magicians, which of course means the last episode of The Magicians After Show right here on AfterBuzz TV. My name is Ty Matthews, and joining me for the very last time, some of my absolute favorite hosts. First of all, of course, Miss Adrienne Snow.
Hello, everyone.
And of course, I'm so happy that she could join us for the last finale, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Steph Sabra.
Hi, I'm so glad that the trio's back.
Yes.
I know, right? It's been a crazy season, both for the show, for us individually, the world. Obviously, nobody thought that this is how the very last Magicians After Show would look, but alas, here we are. Of course, we're going to be talking about season 5, episode 13, Fillory and Further, the series finale of The Magicians. Guys, what are your thoughts on the episode?
I really liked it. I mean, I know it was kind of probably felt a bit rushed just because they're trying to get everything, all the loose ends put together before the series finale. But, you know, I didn't ever feel like they would ever be done questing. And so to kind of know that they're still going to continue on, and, you know, some things are resolved and some things aren't. And maybe Elliott finally has love, you know, it's good to see. So I liked it.
Yeah,
I really liked it. I thought it showed that they really had a vision moving forward. I think everything made sense, but it's hard not to feel like it was cut short, and like certain things could have been explored in way more depth. But I think in terms of character arcs, those are exactly where what I would want to see from the characters.
Yeah.
Right. And Adrienne, I know we were talking a little bit before the show started. You had mentioned, you know, some shows like Breaking Bad, they get an entire year. You know, they get the luxury of knowing well in advance when they're going to be ending. And of course, you know, we knew that it could be a possibility, but obviously with the news just coming in, you know, as recently as it did, yeah.
Well, I felt like the writers and the creators kind of knew it might be a possibility. I mean, you kind of feel it in terms of like contracts being written and all that kind of stuff. And so they wrote it and structured it to be a series finale, which is nice to see, and also leaving it slightly open-ended enough for if they could come back, they would come back for another quest. But yeah, it's different. I mean, you know, Sci-Fi, I love the network, but they don't have the best reputation when it comes to ending shows. I mean, I remember Eureka was told they had a whole year to wrap it up, and they're like, oh, psych, you have one episode like to wrap up your entire show. So, you know, I can't say I'm not surprised that they didn't get another year to just kind of tidy up the way they wanted it, but at the same time, for what it was, I mean, I've seen worst endings to shows, so yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. One of my favorite shows, if anyone has watched Carnival, you know, that was axed at the end of season 2, and they had 6 seasons of story to get to. So
Dang, yeah.
Or was there
Quantum Leap?
Was that
Quantum Leap back in the day?
Of course.
Like after they wrapped their season, they weren't coming back. It ended on a cliffhanger, so they just put a little typing at the end that just said that Sam never made it back home and that he was forever lost through the quantum realm. So that's a horrible ending. I think
that's
better.
Awful.
Right, absolutely. Was there anything in the episode that surprised you guys, that caught you off guard or anything?
I didn't think Zelda was gonna go out like that.
Oh my God, the way that she went out. Oh,
that was gruesome.
Yeah.
And obviously the twist of the beast coming back makes absolute sense, but I was kind of caught off guard by that. But it did make sense that we ended kind of where we started with the Chatwins and our solid group of people minus Quentin. Yeah, but Zelda, I love Zelda. I think that she's had a really, really interesting character arc throughout the seasons. And I do think if anyone was going to die, like, I am okay with her death because I feel like she said, librarians never really die. They just move to a different sector of their life and of life. But yeah, it was pretty gruesome.
Yeah, that was it was shocking more so to see the Beast return because I wasn't expecting that twist. But I'm happy they did it. That was kind of cool to see. It would have been nice to see Zelda kind of get some closure with her daughter. So to kind of, I always like it, and maybe this was just me, when they cut to like a little bit in the future in a series finale.
Right.
Just to kind of give you like those tie-ups that you kind of want. So to see Zelda finally see her daughter, and to see Katie finally see P40, and, you know, even Quentin and Alice finally, or Elliott, reconnecting in the afterworld. That would have been cool to see, just because like, who cares at this point? Like, it's over, just, you know. But at the same time, the Beast was probably the biggest surprise. And then also Dean Fogg coming back, being able to make it out of the etheric realm.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously we've got a lot to get into, both with this episode and just wrapping up the whole series. But if you're watching right now, whether it's on, you know, YouTube, iTunes, anything like that, just know we so appreciate you. Hit us with a thumbs up, comment one last time, you know, just for good measure. And let's keep talking about it. You know, the conversation doesn't have to end. If you have any thoughts, if you have any memories of the show, of their show or our show, you know, hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. You know, I know that we've had people here since day one, so reach out to us if you're one of those people, and let's talk about it. But God, where to start with this episode?
Oh my gosh.
You know, Adrian mentioned Fogg returning from the etheric realm. Let's talk about that. And
wait, let's just
kind of.
But Santa Claus.
Oh, Santa Claus. I love that this show has a way to make any episode a Christmas episode, no matter what time of year it is.
Man,
I love the Santa Claus. I just feel like it was such a Dumbledore moment. You know, when Dumbledore leaves the little trinkets for Harry, Hermione, and Ron, I felt like it was like that. Like, some of them played useful into the challenges that they had ahead, and they all were really, they made sense. And I'm obviously here for that Santa Claus, Black Santa all the way.
The true Santa.
The true Santa.
No, yeah, it was great to see that. And also just for him to finally let Alice off the hook and be like, this was always just about you. It was always your journey. I did that for you. It was never Quentin's quest. Just to kind of give her, you know, I think it was really great to see everyone stepping in to kind of empower Alice, because I felt like she feels so lost right now. And so for Nick to come in and to tell her that he gave it for her to get back into the game, for Zelda to be like, today's the day you become a master magician, and you only need one hand to do it. Like, you don't need, it's comes from within. It was just really nice to see that. So, and then everyone getting their gifts.
Right. Yeah, of course, Finn getting the knife sharpener.
Yes. And the microplane, which are legit some of the best cheese, fruit, vegetable graters out there, just so you know.
I was wondering what that was.
It's a micro grater, basically.
Got it. Got it. I see. Okay.
I have one.
But yeah, and I love the fact that I think by way of learning that it was, you know, Nick that had put that page there, I think that, because I think a lot of people, myself included, were kind of waiting for some sort of appearance from Q to wrap all of this up, you know, in this episode at the end of the season. And I think that's a good way to kind of circumvent that, and to make it okay that didn't happen, you know, that it wasn't about Q, that it was about Alice.
Yeah.
But yeah, just having that Christmas morning opening was super nice.
Yeah, it was. I instantly knew like it was gonna be equal parts feel good as it was ending the story properly. as proper as they could.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, we have this fog that's kind of been driven mad from all that time in the etheric realm. I'm glad that we got a little bit more time with Dean Fogg.
Yes, and not evil Dean Fogg, but like true Dean Fogg.
Right.
That was nice to have him come back. I was nervous for a second when he was acting crazy that he wasn't the real Fogg. But
he came in hot.
Yeah. But just, when they finally realized that he remembers time loops, I was like, oh, thank God. And then even that was kind of shocking. I mean, we'll get there, but to have him doing everything still on the service of saving the kids was great to see.
Yeah, me too. I like that they finished his character arc like that, because we have seen so many renditions of Dean Fogg. And although I love all of them, we've gotten a lot of the bad ones this season, and I think it's proper to finish him on the high note, which he's always been the one who gives them tough love, but makes sure that they're all doing good at the end as much as he can.
Yeah.
Right. Now, am I right in understanding that as soon as he lets go of that cat, he's going to revert back to how he started in this episode?
Well, basically catatonic, because it drives him. He's driven mad. But I mean, now he's a cat daddy. I mean, welcome to the club.
Yes, cat daddy.
Cat people are the best. I mean, I like dogs too, and birds, and animals in general. But the fact that he's always basically just going to look like a Bond villain for the rest of his life, I think that's awesome.
Very Austin Powers moment of him, like very Dr. Evil, but like good.
Right, exactly. And so we see Fogg. Obviously, we get a lot of really amazing moments with Penny and Julia. What did you guys think of that kind of whole part of the episode?
I think it's kind of a bummer that Julia kind of had to be on the sidelines just because she is so pregnant in real life. I get it. I'm sure she was due like probably within weeks of them wrapping that up, but having Penny kind of be tethered to his child in that way, especially because Penny is known for not always being the best at relationship negotiations, so he's definitely gotten a lot better. To have him tethered to the child was great, and then also for him to be able to have the powers again, I was like, oh yes,
I've been waiting for that. I was like, we need to redeem Penny's powers properly. But when Dean Fogg came in and just like sliced the umbilical cord, I was like, if I was Penny, I would it would have been on site, like no joke. I would have flipped out. And so I didn't know what was going to happen, because that's pretty like vicious. Like it's so hard to imagine a reason other than the one he gave for why that was the appropriate thing to do. But luckily there was a solution, because I was actually worried. I'm like, are they just going to kill her off just to have effect like that? Because sometimes in conclusions of series or movies, they'll just kill off a hero just because they want like that kind of like, they got you.
Dude, right. Scandal. Okay. Scandal. A lot of people don't watch that show. But if you do watch the show, spoilers ahead, they killed off like the one redeemable character in the very last 15 minutes of the episode. And it was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like the only person who has literally done no wrong, you killed, you murdered them. And like, I hated the show after that. I mean, I struggled through 5 seasons of that bullshit. Anyways, that's my little thing. But so I was relieved that Julia didn't didn't die, because that would have sucked.
Yeah,
but
that would have.
It was also great to see that there is a universe where she did die, and Plum admitting that they're already in the time loop. They've already created the alternate universe where she lives, essentially. It was nice to see that.
I feel like that showed good writing as well, because with Plum's whole storyline, it has been kind of up in the air, and I've wondered if there's purpose to it, and clearly there was.
Yeah. And now she's no longer a time traveler. Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I wasn't sure if we were gonna see her again after a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
But so yeah, obviously, you know, we luckily Fog isn't the psycho Fog that we've become so accustomed to this season. But of course, like we talked about, we saw the return of the Beast. What did you guys think about this?
Oh man, the moment that voice dropped, I was like, oh, for real? Like,
Right.
that's not the dead person I was expecting to see this episode. But it made a lot of sense that even in death, the Beast would find a way back, or would find a way to torture the people who loved him most. So for him to come back as Seb's lover, Rupert, oh my gosh, whatever. The Dark King.
Yeah.
It was good to see. I thought that the dead coming back was going to be much more intense, like just people like bolting out the door. But then it was just like a bunch of nondescript extras, so that was kind of a bummer. But
right.
But yeah, it was cool to see him.
Yeah, he is such an interesting character because he is such a dick, and but it shows just the stark difference. Obviously there's so much gray area what I'm about to say, but with someone who has dealt with abuse, like you have Julia who's completely gone on a different path than him, and it just shows kind of what that abuse can do and what it can do to a family, because clearly Seb also carries a lot of that burden and weight in a way that he couldn't save his brother, but he is awful. And I agree, it was kind of weird. It's like you open the gates of hell and then 6 extras walk by.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
I maybe...
it made me have to go back and check my notes. Like, wait, this was supposed to be like, didn't Hades say like every dead person was going to come rescue?
Yeah.
He's like, don't worry, more will come. It's like,
will they?
Just, yeah, they had to get a snack first.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one thing that we always seem to kind of come back to in the Magicians is their portrayal of villains and how fleshed out they are and how 3-dimensional they are, and they aren't just like mustache twirling snidely whiplashes, like they're actual characters.
Yes. Yeah, I think the Beast was probably closest to like a mustache twirler.
Right.
But then at the same time, as we were learning about, as we were seeing him be like evil, we were also learning his backstory and the amount of abuse he had gone through. And, they never let Christopher Plover off the hook, like,
right.
Which I appreciate. Like, there's no point where they're like, well, maybe he can be in any way, shape, or form redeemed. Like, even when Seb is pleading with Elliott or trying to figure out how they can stop Martin, he says, I wish I could have stopped that monster from destroying our family. And he's not talking about the Beast. He's talking about Christopher Plover. So that was great to see as well.
It's a great point.
Yeah. It was a nice little callback to the season 1 finale when the Beast kind of like mangled Elliott's hands.
Yes.
Reminded me a lot of
he chopped them off, right?
No, well, Penny he did in season 1.
Okay. Yeah,
with Elliott, he just kind of like
mangled them again.
Yeah.
Dang. And called him an addict, and I was just like, dang.
He read him for filth.
That he was just like tagging along with Quentin and the rest of the gang.
I'm like, listen, everyone's grown except for you. Okay, Marty?
Yeah.
You've just been rotting away in hell, still being bitter.
Yeah.
And it's that exchange when he reduces him like that, it reminds me of like a lot of other scenes, like Thanos, I don't even know who you are, like things like that.
Yeah. But then it came back and it bit him in the butt, and he was like, I am inevitable. No, you're not, sucker. Sorry. I really love Endgame. I watch it way too much.
I just rewatched it.
I love Endgame.
I watch it like once a week.
Yeah, absolutely. What else? Let's talk about Elliott. Let's talk about Elliott, Hyman, Charlton. Like, I had so much fun following these characters.
I did not expect Hyman to so easily and willingly give up his body, especially because he seemed so sad about it for so long. But I guess if I had been out of my body for a long time, but still, observing, I guess, I'd be kind of shocked when I had to use the restroom again.
Right.
Or when I had to hunger pains.
Right. And it seems like it always just comes down to it would be so much easier to perv on people if I was, in a corporeal form.
Yeah. And to perv on himself too, which I was like, wow, he really wants to do that.
He is such a perv through and through. But I knew that was gonna be leading into a good Elliott moment.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so that was all rewarding. But Elliott's whole God, I think out of all of them, he might have the most depressing overall storyline from beginning to end of season 1 to now, because even so, it's heartbreaking with Seb, that conversation that they have where he's like, no, dude, I've actually listened to you this whole time and I've actually liked you, but you were too trying to chase a centuries old love affair. And then he had to let him go too. So even though at the end, which I know we'll get to, Elliott's storyline is a bit redeeming and I think that it will be a good future for him, it just is kind of it still sucks.
Right.
Yeah, I think what Charlton says at the end where he's like, I don't know if you want to be with somebody like me, and he goes, somebody that knows you well, is emotionally available and plans to stick around. I was like, damn,
I love
that's
that.
but that's also, it speaks so much to, sorry, I've been listening to Jess and Monica Love Boys on the Armchair Expert podcast for people who want to tune in. Yeah. And they're talking about how we get into cycles of just wanting to constantly complete the pattern. And Elliott does chase after people who are unavailable or people who are going to leave him, and so for him to potentially be with somebody who's going to just show him emotional vulnerability and what a healthy relationship is, I see that as, fingers crossed that he just commits. A very good ending for Elliott, for
Me
someone
too.
who's been through so much and has lost so many people. And Seb, at the end of the day, kind of deserves being locked in that cottage with Jane. It's kind of well, you should have just moved on, buddy, because your dude moved on to the afterlife. Walked through his door.
That kiss between Charlton and Elliott though was so perfect.
Yeah. I didn't realize how short Charlton was until they kissed. I was like, oh wow.
Oh yeah, and he even says when he's in Hyman's body, he's like, I'm tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that really caught me off guard. That exchange between Charlton and Elliott, but it was so nice. It was something I didn't realize that was
an option.
Yeah,
they really flipped the script on that one. They were like, how do we make this possible?
But they, it worked out because, and I really did love the actor who plays Hyman, whose name I've lost, I'm sorry, impression of Charlton. It was so spot on, the voice and the mannerisms, dang, that's it. You can definitely tell that it's Charlton in the body now.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And that's one thing that I know we've talked about a lot before, but one thing that I've always loved about this show is they play with that a lot, with characters playing other characters and characters playing other versions of themselves. We talked about it just a few weeks ago, how you can so clearly see the difference between Penny 23 and Penny 40.
Yeah.
That even though Arjun is on the show, it feels like we hadn't seen Penny 20 or Penny 40 for so long.
Yeah, they all just, it's a credit to everyone's acting talent that they're able to inhabit each other. Even the few times back when Quentin was on and he would be tasked with playing a different character or being, inhabited by somebody else. They've all just do such a great job.
Right. Now, obviously, talking about Elliott, we can't talk about Elliott without talking about Margo. So we got to talk about Margo. What looked to be her sacrifice. When she left Elliott and Josh. What did you guys think of this scene and her kind of turning back time, all of that?
She's the best. Margo is and will always be my favorite magician's character. Her storyline was so rewarding to me. Just even the flip of the name from the destroyer to the creator. It was just perfect. And I just thought that scene was so wonderful because I was going to bawl my eyes out if she died. And I fully thought she was going to die because it's the series finale. Like it would make sense in some ways. And I just thought the way they did that scene with a Josh sandwich send off, which by the way, I hate when they describe it so good like that because I want it.
So good.
It's unfair.
With the shaved black truffle.
Exactly. But when she's sitting there eating the bite, I'm like, this is a beautiful scene. I loved it. Yeah, I just loved it.
And then even Penny being like, come with me if you want to live. Josh told me to say that. It seemed like it was really important to him. I was like, yes, Terminator.
Right. Of course.
Terminator 2, Terminator 3, 4. But yeah, it was great to just have Margo. You know, I always want more from Margo. I always wish we had more time with Margo, more backstory to Margo. But regardless, her just being her most Margoist and being like, of course I lied. I love you guys too much. I don't want to hug. I'm smiling because I know I'm going to my death. Like, let's not be sentimental about it. Please go so I can do this thing. Here's my eyeball so I can make sure you survive. Yeah, it felt good. And then I had a feeling, I was like, the moment they said we need to connect the psychic connection to somebody who can handle it, I wrote down, oh, Penny's going to get his power back. And so I was like, Margo's going to be fine. So, but it would have been a bummer. I think killing Q off last season allowed for them to not have to kill anyone off in the series finale, because I think that would have been like a bit too much for people to be like, oh my God, you did not just kill off Alice or Margo or Julia when you killed off such a major character in the season finale last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like this whole episode kind of solidified that Quentin was just I don't know, like unavailable for any sort of filming because they opened the gates of hell. Like we had Penny in hell and there was no sign of Quentin. So
well, Quentin went through his door. So he's not in that realm anymore.
Yeah.
So whereas Penny is serving out his time as a librarian, which is like what, 1 billion years? So he'll be there and he can't move on until his 1 billion years are up.
I hate the library.
But Penny likes it. I mean,
I know, but they were such was it last season? What season was it where they were just like
the past 2 seasons,
right?
They were awful. Yeah,
just awful. Control freaks. I hate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, you know, Penny gets his powers back, but only when he's holding Hope Quentin.
Yes.
HQ.
HQ.
If my parents ever made my initials headquarters, I think I'd be a little bit upset.
I think
Adrian's
I like
it. Why not?
I like nerdy stuff like that. I'm like, that's not bad.
Right, exactly.
Noting it. You know, IBM, whatever.
Right. But yeah, I love this kind of like, it's a little bit of an epilogue, we don't get that time jump into the future that a lot of other shows do, but we get a little bit of an epilogue. We find out that Elliott is on the faculty at Brakebills now. He's rocking that same tie that Fogg always does with the Trinity knot.
Yeah, he's looking good,
Right?
They all look just like such adults now, which was nice to see. And then having Katie basically still working with the hedge witches and working with their moon lunatic to talk to the moon. I would have figured that they would have come to some type of resolution with the moon, but
right.
To each their own.
I know,
Yeah.
but I think I'd be a little bit upset if I was the moon too, because they they were not playing by the rules.
But they did ask nicely, and the moon agreed to move.
It was
I don't
Marina
understand what the hate
mainly.
is.
Marina really messed that up. But Yeah, I love Fenn's storyline too. I thought that we finally give her a little bit more props for what she can do and her importance in the entire series in general. And I think that they're very aware of that. Like even in her writing with her, they know they haven't always given her all the chops, but that's the problem when you have so many characters. Like you were saying, Adrian, we couldn't even get Margo's background. So
Yeah.
but I loved how we got to build a new Fillory, and it was with the way that her dialogue at that point of the episode was really good, I thought.
Yeah, it's just nice for her to kind of be like, Fillory wasn't that great, and I think we could improve upon Fillory, because I think, if somebody was like, Adrian, you get to change the earth, and I'd be like, well,
margarita pizzas on deck. Also,
yes.
Margaritas. I wanted
Trees
him to bring both. Yeah,
filled with scotch that you can just plug in and just a little fountain of scotch pours out
yes,
on the tree. 100%
Scotch tap.
Scotch tap.
Adrian for president.
But
world creator right here.
Right, but yeah, that was it. It was beautiful. And go from where we had seen her when she first appeared to now literally birthing the new Fillory.
Yeah.
Yes.
Literally.
Also, Alice, just from that one scene where we have Alice and Fenn and Margo and Josh, I loved what Alice said about like you just need to accept your whole self, because I think of all of them, she has struggled the most because she lived like 500 lifetimes in one season,
right?
And did a lot of awful things, and a lot of awful things have happened to her this season and last season. So I think that that's kind of awesome to hear, because I think that everyone does not the best stuff, and not the best stuff happens. But if you can't really move forward if you don't really accept yourself for the full picture.
Yeah, that was really nice for them to just kind of, that was the way that they can really control the circumstances, to just like be accepting of themselves. My only hang up with Alice this whole season, or not even this whole season, but just like the back 5, was that wig that they put her in. Why is she in a wig? It was driving me crazy.
Did not notice that once.
Because her hair like the first 5-6 episodes of the season, and then she just was in a wig one day, and not a good one, because I noticed. I should never be able to notice.
Oh my God, who put on Alice's wig?
I have a terrible wigdar. I can never tell.
Yeah, who was that? Anyways.
But yeah, I mean, with that, there's the new Fillory. There's Fenn, Josh, Alice, and the very last note that I wrote of the very last episode of The Magicians was just Margo the creator.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you guys mentioned that, because that dichotomy of going from destroyer to creator is such a once again a beautiful trajectory.
Yeah. Yes. And they did end it. Go ahead.
Oh no, I would just love how Fenn was originally going to be like the one to open up the seahorse, and she's like, and then Margo's like, you held this in your cooch, are you sure?
Yeah. It's like, you literally held the world in your vagina. But just the cuteness of Margo hitting it, and just the click, and that's the blackout. It's like, oh, the adventures continue without us, but right. That's okay too. And everyone's got their own adventures. Julia and Penny are the adventure of parenthood, and also whatever side quest that she goes on, and so it'll be okay.
Yeah,
and I felt good with that.
I also love Josh. I always love the writing for Josh. I think his character is so fleshed out. He must be based off someone on set or something, or a friend of the writer. But when he was talking about how male seahorses actually carry the child and how Margo would like that, I love that.
It's true though. They switch sexes. Look it up. It was a really good. It was a really good ending, and just even the lines with Fenn when they're about to create the world seed, she's like, "Is it too late to pee?" Because I was like, I identify with that. Shit's about to go down. I'm like, oh, sorry guys, I have to pee.
Exactly.
Can you give me a minute? It was a good ending.
Yeah. And with that, the Magicians is no more.
Yeah. This is the only show I've done an AfterBuzz from top to bottom, like every year. Me and Ty come back.
It's so crazy. It's like we were talking about it a little bit before the show. I had tweeted a link to our very first episode from January of 2016. And so you can see me, Adrian, Carrie Lane, Samantha Benitez from what feels like forever ago. It feels like so much longer than 4 years.
We look like babies.
Right. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts, reflections on the show, on the after show? What do you guys want to say?
Steph?
I just think this show is really special. I think that I'm going to be really sad without it. It did such a beautiful job of incorporating so many issues that other shows don't want to talk about. I think that sci-fi is always a beautiful vehicle to talk about these types of things because they can do it in a unique way that kind of takes you out of your normal day-to-day and then puts you in a fantastical way. I loved what they did with I think that they did a great job diversifying characters, having each character's arc just go in a full circle in the most beautiful way. And I'm really going to miss it. I think all the actors are so special. I hope that they continue to find work. And I hope that other casting people out there acknowledge the work that they've done on this show and give them opportunities outside of this, hopefully in movies and in even bigger shows moving forward.
Yeah. It's so sad and bittersweet to be done with it. And also, just a shout out to the Sci-Fi Network and the cast and crew who've really been friends of the show since the very beginning. And we've had a lot of them on. And, the Sci-Fi Network, they had some crazy shit on that, on that network. At the same time, they have like two of my favorite shows, Eureka and The Magicians. And, those shows for me, for the most part, stand the test of time and the storytelling that they do and the character development that they have. And so to wrap it up during a pandemic is a bit of a bummer. It would have been nice to be in the studios with you guys for one last time and to cheers goodbye to them for one last time. But it is what it is. And yeah, it's sad to have the show go, but I'm happy I was here the whole time. So
yeah, exactly. I think if this episode, this season, this series taught us anything, it's that you can't always control external circumstances, as we can see with how we're doing this show. But for me personally, this has been a huge part of my life, of my hosting career for the last 4 years. This was one of the very first, I think the second non-wrestling show that I decided to try my hand at. And I think going back and watching me in season 1 and going back to now, like, is just worlds apart. And I think a lot of that is owed to this show and how kind of varied the subject matter is. I think it's helped me grow a lot being able to talk about this show and a lot of these issues. And especially, going back to first season, Adrian, I know we talked about a lot of the issues. Topics would get heavy on this.
You remember when I used to get in trouble all the
which
time?
not everyone was crazy about it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But yeah, I think that speaks to the power of the writing and the power of the subject matter and the places that we're all willing to go. And for sci-fi to be willing to go to those places means a lot. And it's been an absolute blast talking about this. We had talked about being there from episode 1 all the way to now. Steph, I was so excited when you joined the panel, because I think more than a few people had called you a real life Margo even before you joined the panel.
Yes, I've gotten that. I've gotten that a lot of times, but you guys are the best to join this panel with, because not everyone watches the show, but everyone who does love it loves it. So it's so nice to be with people who love the show as well. But I do think that this show will age really well on streaming sites. So if it continues to be on Netflix, I think this could be one that has like a resurge of love and appreciation of new viewers.
Yeah, I think it's such a great show, and it is like one of those things when you run into somebody who does watch it, they're very excited to talk about it because it's kind of like this underground thing, but the storytelling has always been really amazing. And you know, even just like the evolution, I think back to first season of the After Show, and I was like, God, I was so serious in my earlier years on AfterBuzz. And now I'm kind of like, I don't give a fuck. Hey guys. So, and I think that's also a credit to like the show as well, that the show knows how to play with levity and darkness, and sometimes within the same moment, you know, of PTSD and trauma, and singing it out through musicals. And you know, that you can't find that in a lot of shows where they do such a good job of that balancing act.
Yeah, definitely. But thank you guys so much for being on this panel. Thank you to everyone that has ever been on the Magicians panel.
Yes.
Carrie Lane, Samantha Benitez, Joelle Monique, Nate Miller, Yael Teagle, everyone that has joined us, all of the cast and crew that have been amazing enough to join us, from Arjun Gupta to Rizwan Manji to
Josh.
So many people. Josh Butler, who has visited us multiple times. Thank you to everyone. And of course, if you're watching this or if you're listening to this, thank you so much for taking this ride with us. Like I said, it's been a blast to talk about, and it's because, like Adrienne said, you know, the fans of the show are so passionate. So for everyone that's ever been in the chat or hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, left a YouTube comment, thank you so much. From the bottom of our hearts.
Buffington on Twitter, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's people that have been with us since day one, and whether you were there since day one, whether you just joined us this season, hell, if you're watching this years from now, who knows?
Oh my God, when we're old, like old.
Some people are looking back on this, but thank you so much to everyone for the love and support. Guys, one last time, where can they find you?
You can find me all over social media at Steph Sabra. I just launched a YouTube channel this week. Actually, I'm going to be dropping some videos this week, and it's just at youtube.com/Steph Sabra. So check me out. And if you're feeling lonely during the quarantine, I'm sure I speak for all of us, hit us up over social media. We would love to talk to you, talk about magic and positive stuff.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrienne Snow. You can also catch me on Sundays on the Outlander After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. I'm also, because it's quarantine, probably going to launch my soap making and body products, Strange Gazelle, if you guys want some soaps made by me, and some lotion. I'm an herbalist, so you can look out for that. Follow me on Instagram for more updates on that. I think that's it.
I want soap.
As always, you can find me on all forms of social media at Ty Matthews PMA. Like you guys talked about with us, you know, being under isolation and having a lot more free time, I'm doing a lot with my sketch group Friendo. You can check us out, youtube.com/Friendo Sketch. A lot of this, if there's any sort of silver lining, this is sparking a lot of really cool creative projects. So keep up with us on social media, all that stuff. And also, just we hope that you're staying safe, staying healthy. Like Steph said, reach out to us. Let's keep connected. You know, let's keep talking about magic, about positivity. This opens up so many doors for conversations. So let's keep the conversation going. And I guess that's a wrap. That's a wrap on the Magicians After Show. We love you guys so much. We'll be back on various other after shows, so keep up with us on social media. But until then, peace.
Bye.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.